In January 2008, a critical error in judgment by the Church of Scientology led to an unprecedented response from the Internet's most infamous hacker collective, Anonymous. This marked the beginning of a movement that would captivate millions and forever alter the relationship between online activism and real-world consequences. It all started with a simple message, an online declaration of war against Scientology that would soon escalate into one of the most infamous battles in digital history. It began with the leak of a video, a 9-minute interview with Tom Cruise, one of the church's most high-profile members, in which he passionately discussed his involvement in Scientology. The video, intended for internal use only, was quickly suppressed by the church, attempting to bury what they considered to be a private and controversial piece of propaganda. But in the digital age, information is hard to control. The video made its way onto the internet, and Gawker, a prominent website, hosted it when others refused. The church's efforts to censor the truth only fueled the fire, catching the attention of Anonymous. On January 15, 2008, Anonymous issued its infamous declaration: "We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us." This was no longer just about a video or a disgruntled few. It was a full-scale war against the Church of Scientology, a war declared not just by individuals, but by a collective, a faceless force that had been quietly growing in the depths of the internet. Anonymous wasn't just a group. It was a name adopted by anyone who wanted to join the fight. What began as a series of online raids, including distributed denial of service, DDoS attacks on Scientology's websites, quickly turned into a global movement. DDoS attacks are relatively simple. By flooding a website with massive amounts of traffic, you can temporarily knock it offline. This was the first move in Operation Chanology, the campaign that would mark Anonymous's declaration of war. It was initially a joke to many, a random act of digital disruption that seemed like nothing more than a harmless prank. But soon, more and more people joined, and what had started on a small image board spiraled into a global phenomenon. The first major blow came on January 19th, when Anonymous managed to take down the Church of Scientology's main website entirely. Mainstream news outlets, like Sky News and Fox News, sensationalized the attack, calling Anonymous super hackers. In reality, very few of the thousands involved had any real hacking skills. They were simply following instructions and using programs provided to them by more experienced hackers. The media's exaggerated coverage of the attacks inadvertently boosted Anonymous's reach, drawing in even more recruits. The once small collective grew exponentially, and its IRC, Internet Relay Chat channels, once home to a handful of Anonymous users, were flooded with thousands of newcomers eager to take part. As the movement gained momentum, leadership began to emerge. Not in the traditional sense, but among those who were organizing and guiding the efforts. However, despite their best attempts, there was no central leadership or clear structure within the collective. Anonymous was, by design, a decentralized organization where anyone could join and contribute without being accountable to a single authority. The chaos and lack of direction soon became apparent. Despite the lack of focus, the protests and online attacks continued. Anonymous even organized protests at Scientology churches across the world, encouraging supporters to wear masks, creating a powerful visual identity for the movement. This led to protests across 70 cities, with over 7,000 people participating. The mask, inspired by the film V for Vendetta, became the symbol of Anonymous, a perfect representation of their defiant stance against powerful institutions. But while the protests gathered steam, there were growing pains within the collective. The involvement of thousands of people, many of whom were there for the fun and the thrill of it, created a schism within Anonymous. Some members wanted to continue with the original mission of confronting Scientology, while others were content with the anonymity and chaos they'd created. using memes and online jokes as their primary tools. This led to a growing divide, with some members pushing for more serious activism, while others wanted to revert to their old ways of digital mischief. The FBI began to take notice. By mid-2008, two early members of Anonymous were arrested for their role in the DDoS attacks. The arrest of these individuals, as well as the lawsuits filed by the Church of Scientology against anonymous hackers, put everyone on high alert. The FBI even sued a college student who was ordered to pay $20,000 in damages for his part in the DDoS attacks. He was also sentenced to a year in prison. This served as a wake-up call to many in Anonymous that their actions had real-world consequences, and for the first time, the collective found itself at a crossroads. Was it worth the risk? Anonymous's reach and notoriety continued to grow, but as the group splintered, so did its unity. What had started as a shared fight against the Church of Scientology became a battleground for different ideologies within the collective. Some wanted to continue the fight against Scientology, while others had more ambitious plans. A French PhD student, known only as House, began organizing a more structured group within Anonymous. House set out to find the most respected voices within the group, trying to steer the movement toward a more coordinated direction. But infighting soon broke out, and the leadership group was leaked to the public, further destabilizing the collective's momentum. Despite the internal chaos, the Church of Scientology had learned valuable lessons from the attacks. They stopped responding publicly, ceased issuing press releases, and began to play dead, hoping the movement would lose steam without their reaction. Ironically, the lack of a response from Scientology led to a decrease in engagement from the Anonymous collective. Without a target, many members lost interest, and the momentum began to fade. But while Operation Chanology seemed to be winding down, it wasn't the end of Anonymous. In fact, it was just the beginning. In the early days of the operation, a much more dangerous faction had taken notice of Anonymous, a group of black hat hackers, individuals skilled in the art of cybercrime, saw the potential in Anonymous's collective power. These hackers weren't interested in memes or DDoS attacks. Instead, they were focused on serious, high-level cyber attacks that would cause billions of dollars in damage. They weren't trying to make a statement or create chaos for fun. They were after power and profit. These hackers would go on to perform some of the most infamous cyber attacks in history, hacking into some of the largest corporations in the world. They were the ones who took Anonymous's reputation for digital anarchy and turned it into something far more sinister. As the years went on, Anonymous's legacy grew more complex, while the original mission to expose Scientology's practices faded. The collective's influence expanded far beyond the world of hacking. From political activism to corporate sabotage, Anonymous became synonymous with online resistance. Their decentralized nature made them both powerful and dangerous, as anyone could claim to be a part of the collective, and anyone could wreak havoc under its banner. The story of Anonymous and their war with Scientology is not just about a group of hackers causing chaos. It's the story of how a digital movement can evolve into something much larger, something that challenges the power structures of the world. From humble beginnings in an obscure internet forum to global infamy, Anonymous's rise is a testament to the unpredictable nature of the internet age. And who knows what they'll do next? The story of Anonymous is still being written,